Building your own product, okay, it will save me money. But going out and buying property or doing something, that's what's making me money. So now I always try to put it into two buckets. So anything that I'm trying to do, I'm trying to evaluate it into two senses. Is it going to save me money, or is it going to make me money?
Yeah.
If the answer is, and I've asked this question myself, right? If the answer is it's going to save you money, I just look for outside. I don't want to save money. Let's put it this way.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, just go with something that's out there and just do it. Like this podcast as an example. I can edit it myself and it will save me money, or just hire somebody and pay them and let them do the editing. I don't want to do it.
Yeah. It comes from an understanding of that your time is not free, right? Like
exactly.
And the more you think about that, the better your decision making becomes. Like, have you ever heard of a book called Who Not How?
I think I've heard about it. I have not read it. I have not bought it yet, but I need to buy and read it. But I was reading another book. It was, and I think I'm still kind of learning that thing, and I'm a little bad at it. It's called 10-Minute Manager or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
How to manage the whole, your people and the whole show in like 10 minutes or less. It's like Scrum Master thing, right? Like how do you do a Scrum thing? So that's how you should be. But I'm still a little bit more involved into things. My biggest challenge right now, I don't know what your challenge is, but my biggest challenge right now is building the team and delegating. Because we, as a virtue of it, as I was talking earlier, like saving and all that stuff, we're always looking to do it ourselves. And even if you're delegating, it's so hard to delegate. It seems so simple, right? But it's not.
No,
it's an art in itself.
And that's what this book is about. It's very common as an entrepreneur or someone building a business to think, okay, and I mentioned this a moment ago, I'm a problem solver, right? So how do I solve this problem? The maturity and the growth of someone as an entrepreneur is moving away from the how do I solve this to who can solve this for me. So a good example, when I started out, like most people, I was keeping track of stuff in a Google sheet, all of my real estate investments. And then I finally realized I need to do accounting, like real accounting, and use accounting software. I didn't know the first thing about it. And I started to learn. I built like a chart of accounts and QuickBooks. And then finally, I'm like, why am I spending this time? I am not an accountant by trade. I could pay someone to go set this up, take what I've got, and oh my God, this was like one of the best things I ever did, because I met a woman who has, here in Atlanta, has a practice, and she took what I had, built everything for me. I think it cost me, I don't know, a couple $1,000s, maybe not even that. And oh my gosh, now it's point and click, transactions flow in, they go to the right place. My books, I can look at any day of the week. I can get a snapshot of like exactly what my balance sheet looks like and what my income statement looks like, where before I was guessing. But like I was ready to go do all of this myself. But you realize it's not about how you do it. It's who can help me? Who can I pull in to help me accomplish? Who can help me, edit this podcast? Who can help me do this accounting? And that to me is where you start getting that maturity level, and it lets you focus on building the business than being in the business.
Yeah, no, that's absolutely right. You need to have a CEO mindset, right?
Yes.
And I was listening to somebody else, and exactly, and that's where I think we all should be focused on, where you are working on the business, not in the business. But it's so easy to get sucked into it, right? Okay. Especially for the things that are like my background is technology and business, but what I do for the bigger firms is this, what you were talking about, the chart of accounts, the accounting. That's what I work on. And when I look at my business, I just don't want to give it to somebody else, because I'm like, I can do chart of accounts, piece of cake. I do it all day long.
Yep.
But at the same time, it takes time away. I mean, it takes time.
Yep. You could be looking at the next deal, that could come your way instead of trying to build a chart of accounts. But totally get why it's an easy trap to fall into.
Very, very easy. Great. So yeah, so you had this not so good experience, and so what happens next?
Yeah, so I actually started a Google sheet, and I kind of broke it up into categories, and I was thinking about like, if I was doing this again, what questions would I ask about his business, about how he screens tenants, about how his technology reporting and portal platform is, how do they manage repairs and maintenance, and I ended up coming up with this almost like 6 or 7 page Google sheet. And then I thought, well, cool, I can just send this out to someone if they ever ask for it. But like, I know the answers to some of these questions. So what I did is I wrote a book that had 100 questions. I kept it to 100 in all these different topic areas that you could just jump into. And it comes from pain, like people oftentimes write books because they've gone through something, and I did too. And I'm like, how can I help other people? And you learn little tips and tricks along the way. Like, if you're going to evaluate a property manager, go look on their website to see how they have promoted the existing properties they have for rent, because it's going to be telling that is how they are going to put yours up. What do the pictures look like? Is the description good? Are they highlighting the amenities of the property? And it's little tips and tricks like that you learn by going through this, and that's what prompted me to do it. It was more of kind of scratching my own itch, Ray, than anything else. But it was.
What's the name of your book?
It's called. It is on Amazon. It's just an ebook. I never got it printed or anything like that. And it is. I haven't looked at I have to pull this up. It's 100 questions you should ask a property manager. So all
right, listeners, if you're listening to this, go ahead and buy that book, 100 Questions to Ask a Property Manager by Jeff Costa. Definitely, you'll have some questions, and it will make your life easy on the property management stuff. Now, I manage my property myself, but if I'm looking for a property manager, or if I'm thinking about like a deal which is outside of me, I'll definitely give it a read, because to your point, I don't know everything. If you have gone through the pain, I don't have to go through the same pain.
Yes.
It might take me 30 minutes or an hour to read the book, and it will tell me what I need to ask. And you have solved my pain by your pain, and by you kind of publishing it and helping us. And thanks to you, man.
Yeah, no, and I think everybody should, when you're doing a pro forma and evaluating a deal, plug in the cost of a property manager, because while you may be doing it today, your life may change in 5 years. Maybe you have a child or a parent gets sick, and you no longer have the time to do the property management things you were doing today. And what you don't want to have is like, oh, all of a sudden, because I have a property manager, my property now becomes unprofitable. So I always encourage people, whether they're going to use a property manager or self-manage, that when you're evaluating a property to purchase it initially, plug it in there, right? Plug it in. Even if you're going to do it yourself, make sure that it makes sense with a property manager in place.
Absolutely.